Vladimir Putin is for a long time that Western support for Ukraine will begin to weaken. The U.S. Congress is in turmoil in its opposition to GOP's Ukraine aid. GOP's right-wing blown Congress into chaos against the opposition of making more money in Ukraine. While Kremlin took a tours of victory, Kremlin's spokesman Dmitry Peskov said that turmoil is a sign of future things Western support for Ukraine will begin to collapse. For a long time, analysts have longed been that it was an important part of President Vladimir Putin's plan staying in the war for a long time because the West was tired of helping Ukraine. Fatigue on this conflict, fatigue on absurd sponsorship of the Kiev regime will grow in various countries, including U.S. The U.S. Congress dispute focuses on a new billion-dollar aid package to Ukraine, the last of a series of large cash-in weapons that are vital for Ukraine in the war against Russia's invasion. House GOP's isolationist extreme right fraction forced the former Speaker Kevin McCarthy to force it. Pentagon said he still has billions of previously approved assistance to give, but this will be exhausted at some point. Meanwhile, U.S. is not the only nation showing fatigue of Ukraine. Last week, a far-right party won the elections in Slovakia after promising to end the support of Ukraine, where it shared a land border. In Germany, the far-right AfD party, whose leaders have long been nurturing relations with Russia and against Ukrainian aid, is increasing in the polls, even though European support is intact. Wall Street Journal this week said that Ukraine's European allies will fight to create any deficiencies from the drying of the United States. This week, several news stories conveyed variations on a single theme. Western allies say they have already given most of what they are ready to give. According to analysts, Putin has bets Western support for weakening of Ukraine a long time, because the high fuel prices and inflation hitting households continue to disrupt household budgets. Russian Defense Minister Sergei Shoigu predicted that conflict could last until the year 2025 after U.S. presidential elections. According to U.S. intelligence officials in New York Times this week, Putin is doing his best to strengthen anti-Ukrainian thought by preparing a widespread disinformation campaign for United States. In an article for the Quinty Institute, George Beebe, former director of the CIA Russian Analysis Unit, announced what could happen next. He said that U.S. and European reluctance could feed each other. In turn, it could make it even more difficult to erode the morale in Ukraine and support war. The combination can produce an overturning point where gradual erosion of Western support for Ukraine has a sudden decrease or collapse. Other analysts believe that Kremlin's victory tour may be early. According to a new survey by Chicago Global Affairs Council, the majority Americans still help Ukraine. 6 out of 6 them. But Sue